In this video, I'll show you a team with Queen to score high against Yatsufusa. So this video is not really free-to-play friendly. I have already done a guide by using An, so if you want to see the free-to-play version, you can click the top right corner. But this video, I'm gonna try using more premium characters because I've been doing free-to-play guides way too much recently and I'm starting to forget how to use premium characters. But anyways, Yatsufusa is pretty simple to understand. So Berserk stack, Guardian and Medics, you need this. Every time you have an element on this dock, you increase your damage by 10%, up to 4 stacks, so 40% total. Then you also have nuclear damage, so Makoto will be really useful here. And the dog will summon souls, 4 of them. And if you kill the soul, it will inflict the dog with ailments for 2 turns. And there's 4 of them, so there's Burn, Shock, Freeze and Windswept, all 4 of them. And you do want to kill them in the first 2 turns, so 1 turn, because they will do quite a bit of damage if you leave them alone. At the start of the battle, the dog will be resistant to everything. But once you have 4 elements on the dog, it will change to these affinities here, and the defense will also decrease. So you do want to get him to 4 elements as soon as possible. So this is the team. This Makoto is not mine, it's for my guildmate, Exterior. So shout out to him for the Makoto. Let's just talk about Makoto first. Makoto is very good. She's a single target nuclear DPS. I'll actually be using all 3 of her skills. Actually no, all 4 of this in this fight. All 4 of these actually serve a function. And the skill 1, skill 2 and highlight all got a buff. So skill 1 can help you inflict ailment now. Previously it cannot in the other versions, right? In the global version they buff it. So you can inflict ailment, which will also help you get the tenacity stacks, because the stacks depend on how many ailments the opponents have. And once you have 5 tenacity stacks, you can activate Crash Out, which will increase your damage and also your defense. It will change your skill 3 into a super powered nuke, which will do a lot of damage. The skill 2 also got a buff. The most important buff is that the attack buff, 42%, this attack buff was originally 1 turn, now it's 2 turns, so that's actually quite a big buff, and 42% is also a big damage increase. And you also get 3 tenacity stacks, but that's not that important because it's quite easy to get the stacks. You just need elements on the opponents and you can get stacks easily. And then her highlight, 2 big damage. And if the opponent doesn't have any ailment, it will inflict 2 ailments. And then if you don't have to inflict any ailment, you actually get a damage buff on her highlight here, 20% buff per stack. And of course the passive, this one is also quite important. For every type of ailment, you increase attack. So of course, Vino will be quite important with her, because Vino can help inflict the ailments. So this is the card. Okay, a reminder that this is not my Makoto, so this is the best set for her. Increase the nuclear damage and also increase damage when the opponent has ailment. Then her weapon is a 5-star weapon. It's mostly just a bunch of damage buffs here. And then the stat screen, I don't have the usual stat screen because this is not my Makoto, but I'll just scroll through here for you to see the stats. Okay, now her best teammate is obviously Vino. Vino is pretty good because she can debuff a lot of stuff. So I'll be using skill 1, skill 3, just rotate this. Skill 1 will inflict 1 random element and also debuff defense. Skill 3 will increase the target's damage taken. And it's also based on the number of elements they have. And both of the debuffs here scale on element accuracy, so you do want element accuracy built on her. Sadly, I don't really have good elements because my cards are pretty bad, so my damage will be lower. And she can also inflict this thing called Radiation, which basically will buff Makoto because it increases nuclear damage taken. And Radiation is very simple to activate because all you need is just an ailment. If you have ailment, you use the skill, you activate the Radiation. It's basically a free buff. And also very important thing is the Radiation counts as an ailment, so you can actually stack like 5 ailments total because there's Burn, Freeze, Shock and Windswept, right? And then another one is Radiation, so that's 5 total. So that will increase the damage because some of the skills stack on number of ailments, right? Then again, this one also increase the attack. This one not that important, this one just basically buff the damage a bit. Highlight can inflict 2 random ailments that the foe don't have, so that's nice, and also do a little bit of damage. Then for Revelation card, so the important part about this is this one. Decrease the target's defense, the departure and control, that's useful. So Makoto can do more damage. Weapon, I have a 4-star weapon. I finally got it. I think in the previous video I was using 3-star. I forgot I can buy it from the shop, so now I bought it. This is a pretty good weapon also. The important stuff is that you can debuff defense twice, 9.6 times 2. If you have ailment and also radiation, which is very simple to do, right? Then this is the stat screen. Again, it is not well built. My element accuracy is only 33%. Terrible. And also Makoto should be the last to move. Again, DPS usually last to move. There are a few exceptions of course, but I won't get into that. And then our healer, Marion. If you don't have Marion, you can use Nufel of course. Nufel works well also because Nufel can also inflict burn, which is an element. But I'm using Marion because of survivability and also damage buff. So I'll be spamming skill 2 a lot of times because skill 2 can grant the blessing stacks. And granting the blessing stacks will directly buff this passive here because the damage buff can depend on the number of blessing stacks you have. But if I think my team is gonna die, I'll use skill 3 because skill 3 heals a lot and it can also increase the max HP, which would be useful against the boss to tank more. But if not, just skill 2 to get blessing stacks and a bit of healing. And make sure that when you use either of these skills, make sure you always target Makoto as the main target, so you guarantee healing on her, so that she'll guarantee get blessing stacks for skill 2. Then skill 3, you at least guarantee that she will be fully healed. And also when you heal, you activate this passive. So the cards, I gave her the prosperity set, very important, okay, for the 25% gauge, so that you can highlight 4 times in one battle. Her weapon is 4-star weapon. The more important part about her weapon is the 26% chance of getting blessing, which is also why you should always target Makoto, because that will make her the main target. And of course some healing as well, but it's not as important I think. Then this is the stat screen. Then the next one, our navigator is Okian. So skill 1, skill 3 again. She's useful for Makoto because she can also buff element accuracy, which will buff Vino's debuff. And then just some extra damage of course. I do offer A6, so she is pretty nice at A6 for the extra 25% chance to activate our Encore. So you can stack like up to 2 or 3 pulsating rhythm. Then this is a revelation card for more attack to buff more. Weapon is a 4-star weapon, again also more attack stat and also chance to get extra beat stack. 4 beat stack will activate the pulsating rhythm, and then since I'm at A6, there's a 25% chance to activate it again. Then this is the stat screen. Now for Wonder's persona. Sad thing, and I guess funny thing, is that there's not really a lot of good nuclear personas. If I sort by nuclear, you only have like 6-7 of them, and the only like I guess good one is Titania. But typically you won't really use a healer on Wonder because the healer usually doesn't buff any damage, which means that we have to use persona that is not nuclear. And the 3 personas are, the first one, Komokuten. Again, putting him as the first one will give you a free buff, attack and crit buff. Then we have Kushinada. She is for the Tarukaja and Matarukaja to buff attack. And then her passive is pretty good because you have a 6.7% permanent increase to your attack and you can stack up to 3 times. The only caveat is that you have to equip her, so you cannot really swap into another persona. If you swap it, your buff here will disappear, which is why I have both Tarukaja and Matarukaja to make sure that she will be on the field as often as possible for the buff. Then we also have Succubus for the crit buff, and her passive buffs even more crit. And with that, can begin. Okay, summon the souls. So the interesting thing is that you actually don't have to care about the souls, so you can just target the dog the entire time, because the only thing you need is 4 elemental ailments. And once you have 4 elemental ailments, this passive thing will disappear and all the resistance will disappear also. But if you ignore the souls will do big damage later on, so you'll risk yourself dying later. But yeah, I'll skill 1 with Pino here to inflict the ailment. Okay, nice. Then I'll Tarukaja with Wonder. Then Marion, skill 2 Makoto. This will give her the blessing stack. And it also heals Vino, which is very good, because we actually do want to heal her as well, since she does damage, a bit of damage, skill 1, skill 3. And having the blessing stacks here, as well as the health comes first, which is Minami's passive, will give some damage buff, so Vino will do a bit more damage. Then Queen will skill 1 here to inflict ailment and also do damage and also get the tenacity stacks. Ideally you want to get 5 stacks, so if you don't have the 5 stacks you have to restart. Oh, that's fine. Okay, That's okay. So okay, Makoto has 5 stacks now. That's really good. So no need to restart because she will activate her crash out later. So skill 3 with Hokkien. Then Wonder will use no Wonder. Vino first. Vino skill 3. So basically just keep rotating skill 1, skill 3. So luckily the dog has no more immunity. That is because I already have 40% increase. This is actually the first time that has happened. I've tried this rotation a few times already. This is the first time that I was able to hit 4 elements on the first turn. So I should probably have a new high score for this fight. So skill 3 to debuff. I say that because right now I can use Makoto's highlight. Regardless of resisted or not, you should use Makoto's highlight here so that on the last turn you can use Makoto's highlight again. So this should do more damage. Hopefully 60. Oh, that's way more than 60. Holy crap. Now use Mataro Kaja on Queen. Marion again with skill 2. I think you can just Marion. I think you can just skill 2 Marion until you have to use skill 3 because of the blessing stack and more damage. Just keep aiming Queen and use skill 3 when everybody's HP is low and I think you're gonna die. Okay, now we change the crash shot. We're actually gonna use skill 1 again to make sure all the souls die. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, you can still use skill 2, which is nice. Yeah, or skill 1, inflict more status. And then Wonder will use Revolution from Komokuten. Marion will skill 2 again on Makoto. So she should have 3 blessing stacks now, I think. Let me check. Oh, only 2. Still good enough. Now highlight, we're gonna use Vino's highlight to do some damage. Yeah, I guess do a bit of ailment also. Ideally, you do want to have 4 ailments at all times, so you can do maximum damage. So now I'll skill 3 with Queen. Oh, big damage. Oh, almost 100k. Okay, 100k. Okay, now this turn I need to use skill 3 for Marion. But Okian, can you skill 1 here? Okay, now Taruka. No, Vino first. I keep skipping Vino's turn. Now skill 3, debuff. Then Wonder will use Tarukaja. Change to Kushinada, Tarukaja. And now it's Marion's turn. Oh, I can actually just skill 2 here. I don't need to skill 3. The reason why I'm using skill 2 is because skill 2 gives you the blessing stacks, which will directly buff Makoto's damage. Skill 3 doesn't give you blessing stacks, but it will heal a lot. But now I don't really need to heal a lot. And also, skill 3 also increase the max HP, which will allow you to tank more. But I think I'm safe, so I'll skill 2 with Minami. Hopefully can heal Vino. Okay, that's really good. And then I'll actually skill 2 here, because the skill 2 actually got a buff. The attack buff now lasts for 2 turns, so if I use it now, the buff will last until the end of the turn, because after this turn we have 2 more turns left. And then a 42% increase to attack is pretty sizable increase. So it doesn't really matter who you target here, because the buff will always go to Makoto herself. Okay, that's fine. And now, skill 3 with Okian. Let's see how many status does it have. Oh, only 10%. Using skill 1 will give it to 2 more, which will increase to 30%. Yeah, sadly not 40%, but it is what it is. Now we actually no, we use the highlight first, buff damage. Okay. Nice. And now we'll use Rebellion. And then skill 2 again. I don't have to skill 3, so I'm just saving a lot of SP here. On Queen again. Let's see how many blessing stacks she has now. 3 stacks. That's a lot. And now we can activate Crash Out. Now we can start doing big damage. 120k. Ooh, yeah. Okay, very nice. Okay, now it's the last turn, doesn't matter anymore. Oh, just don't hit Wonder, please. Ooh, okay, that's a bit scary. But it's fine, last turn anyways. Skill 3 debuff. Okay, let me check the how many percent. 30, it's probably 30. Yeah, it's still 30. Okay. Now we change it back to Kushinada. You want to change it back because her passive only activates when you have her equipped. So it's a 6.7 times 3, which is this one. So that's like almost a 20% increase, which is quite a big buff. So Mataru Kaja. So I made the rotation so that I will use her on the last turn. And then Marion can also just do 2, honestly, doesn't matter anymore. Highlight, the final bit of damage. Let's see. Oh, nice, 120k. Okay, let's see her. It's at almost 10k. 10, that's a lot. And then the crit and crit stuff, the crit also pretty good. A lot of buffs here. So 120k I'm expecting. Oh, that's lesser than I thought. Okay, this should be at least 10 million. I think our new record. Oh, not a new record, but still pretty good.